Hi everyone, Shanawa here with the Redeemed family. Today I'm answering the question, how does the church contribute to narcissism? That might shock some of you. You say, what, the church contributes to narcissism? Well, it can. And we're going to talk about three ways right now. The first is by teaching legalism or being legalistic. This is a wrong doctrine that removes the focus of the gospel from Jesus and his finished work on the cross and the fact that we receive our justification, our righteousness as a gift by faith. Justification by faith. Instead, it makes the focus on our works, what we do or don't do to get right with God, and that can unfortunately produce a lot of shame. So, what do people do when they experience shame? It can either drive them away from God in a hopeless state where they're like, I'll never get it right. I guess I just have to stay away, or it causes people to seek to justify themselves, to minimize that feeling of shame, and to do that, they can either deflect or not take responsibility for when they actually do miss it. This can cause narcissism, because that's exactly what narcissists do: is deflect, do anything necessary to deflect that shame. The second way that the church contributes to narcissism inadvertently is to require more fruit of women than men. That also might shock some of you, depending on where you're from. Others, not so much. But there are teachings from the pulpit extensively on submission for wives, what that looks like, what's required, whereas men tend to receive a general, just love your wife and your family. Again, but women is very specific. They have to cook, they have to clean. There's just no end to what they have to do in order to be good wives and mothers. When they miss it, there's a lot of judgment. So what that does is that enables narcissistic men, like who have that tendency to be the center of the family, the center of their lives, to demand constantly what they want while ignoring the needs of their wives and kids. Okay, the third way that the church inadvertently contributes to narcissism is by ignoring or disparaging other motivational gifts. So what do I mean by that? Well, every believer has a motivational gift, and so does every pastor. The culture of a church is shaped around the motivational gift of the pastor. For instance, some pastors, their motivational gift is perceiving, and that gift focuses on pointing out sin. Now, under the new covenant, that's pointing out unrepentant sin amongst believers in the congregation. If it's unrepentant, not just going around and just pointing out what people do wrong, which is what some people do when they're immature in this gift. At the same time, the blind spot of this gift is sometimes not being able to see their own sin. So this creates a culture of pointing out a lot of sin in other people, but not taking responsibility for sin. On the other hand, mercy showing is another motivational gift, and this creates a culture of extending mercy readily. However, same thing, if this gift hasn't been matured yet, it hasn't been submitted to God, then mercy showers can extend mercy to people who are unrepentant. And this definitely enables narcissism, because what does a narcissist do? They want to hide that shame. And so they want to naturally latch on to people who aren't going to draw attention to their sin. That could be the mercy shower if they don't submit that gift to God. So apart from God, churches with these two different gifts at the forefront could create narcissists and their victims, which are codependents. But submitted to God, these gifts will not ignore each other. They'll work together, appreciate the differences, and together produce a clearer picture of God's heart and God's nature. So these are the ways in which a church could contribute to narcissism. But thank God that we have his wisdom and his knowledge. We can feed from the right tree, the tree of life, and not lean to our own understanding, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and we can see healing. Thank you so much for watching.